Okay, so now that you understand topic sentences and how you need points to back up topic sentences, let's complete body paragraphs by now talking about how we develop the points that back up the topic sentences. Because if you don't have some way of explaining or offering examples to help people to understand the points that back up the topic sentences, then what you're probably going to see on your paper is someone make a comment along the lines of, this point is underdeveloped, or you don't really have enough development in this paragraph. So let's understand what somebody means when they're telling you that, and hopefully avoid those comments altogether by going ahead and developing it before you turn your paper in. So let's look at, first of all, where we have come from and where we're about to go to. Remember, we've covered in the first video on thesis statements that before you even start writing, you need to have a topic that you are writing about. But it's not enough to have a topic, you also need to have a claim, and that claim needs to have 3 reasons of support. Each of those reasons of support will become the topics for each of your 3 body paragraphs. And then each of those topics is going to have 3 points of support to back up that topic sentence. What we have not yet covered is how you explain or how you offer examples for those points so that your readers can clearly understand exactly what it is that you're talking about. So let me show you this example. I believe this was in the last video. And we can look at these components and how they all fit together. Notice that the topic sentences in red, in yellow are the 3 supporting points, and then in the white is what we're going to cover here in this video, which is how do we develop those points. So let me just show you in this really basic essay, this basic paragraph of an essay, what this might look like. Notice that the topic sentence clearly lets me know not only what this paragraph is going to deal with, but also it reminds readers about what the point of the entire paper, what the claim for the entire paper is. Finally, which lets readers know more than likely this is the last body paragraph, tech is a great choice for high school graduates, the thesis claim, because it offers multiple options for education, which is what this person is going to show in this paragraph, that tech offers multiple options for education, and that is yet another reason why it's a great choice for high school graduates. Now, the first point is stated, the nicest option, I believe, is the choice students have among the different campus locations. Okay, so that makes sense, is that becomes an option for education as you have different options as far as where to go to school because of the different campus locations. But it's not enough to say that, because somebody might say, well, so what? What does that mean? Why is that important? Well, let me explain it to you. Tech offers 3 campuses to choose from. There is one in Conway, one in Myrtle Beach, and one in Georgetown. This is nice because students are able to attend the school that is closest to their homes and therefore save time and gas money. So notice, I don't have to guess why this person thinks it's important that tech having multiple campuses to choose from is important. They have spelled it out. They have given me a wonderful explanation. Even though it's short, it still gives me a wonderful explanation of why they think it's important. And they really hit on that and make it abundantly clear right here where they say you're able to attend one that's closest to your house, and therefore it's not only going to save you time, but it's going to save you gas money as well, because you're not going to have to drive as far. Along with multiple campuses, and notice what this person has done, just like we have transitions to topic sentences, this person has put a transition to their next point. Hey, just so you're clear, I just covered multiple campuses. Now I'm about to tell you that tech offers different class dates and times. Well, why is that important? Why do you think that that's something that I need to know? Let me explain it to you. Some classes are offered in the morning, but then there is often the same class offered again in the afternoon. This allows students who work at one time of day to attend classes during the other. For instance, my work schedule requires me to work in the morning on Mondays and Wednesdays, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm forced to work in the afternoon. Because of tech's class time options, I'm able to attend class all week long. So after I finish reading that, I don't have to wonder why in the world do you think it's so great that they offer different dates and times, and why is that a wonderful, or one of the wonderful multiple options for education that they offer. Notice the last one. Lastly, transitional word. If you aren't able to make it to campus, Tech offers online courses. And they go on to explain the online courses. Notice that all three of these points back up how Tech is offering multiple options for education. All three of these are on topic. If one of these was talking about something other than a multiple or an option for education, that person would be off topic for this particular paragraph. All right, so let's look at the different ways that we can develop paragraphs, because once again, I like to give people templates, ideas about how they can do this. It makes it a little easier when you sit down to write your paper. So here is a sample topic sentence and a first point that a person might have in a paper if they were writing about Tech, as the last person was. In addition to the wonderful teachers, Tech is also a great school because it has wonderful facilities. That is the topic sentence of this paragraph. They are only dealing with the facilities. So the first point this person is going to make to explain how the facilities are great is, first, the library is fantastic. Now, there might be other points that this person is going to make too, like maybe the coffee shop is great. Maybe the classrooms are great. There may be different facilities on campus they want to talk about. But this first point is just about how the library is fantastic. The problem is that somebody might read this and say, I've been in the library. I don't see what the big deal is. They have books in there. There's computers. What do you think makes it so fantastic? Well, let me explain. Let me help you to understand. Let me help you to see what I see so wonderful about this particular facility. So here are 4 different ways, and these are not the only ways. Once again, these are just 4 ways that I think will help you out if you're trying to develop points for your paper, that you can say, well, let me try this one. Okay, I did that one last time. Let me try another one. And so by utilizing these different techniques, you might be able to make your paragraphs better. All right, one way is to use examples and illustrations. And just like an illustration that is a drawing, you are painting a picture for your readers. So that if you're going to say the library is fantastic as your first point, you need to go on and develop that. And so here's the way this person does this with an illustration. First, the library is fantastic. Why do you think it's so fantastic? Let me explain to you. Our library has books on almost any subject imaginable. There are reference books for those times when you need a quick, reliable information, but there are also many fiction books for entertainment. Also, Tech's library has magazine and newspaper racks that contain the latest editions of these publications. If you can't find what you're looking for in print, then you can sit at one of the library's many computers, which have access to many helpful databases of information. So notice, by the time I get finished reading, this is just the development for one point. There are still 2 other points in this body paragraph that will need developing. Maybe the classrooms, maybe the coffee shop, whatever it is. This is just one point. Nobody can finish this particular example or illustration and then say, well, wait a minute, why do you think the library is so fantastic? They know. You have painted a picture for them. You've let them see it. So that works. That's one way. Another way is to use an anecdote or a story. Now, we learn to use an anecdote or a story to introduce the paper, but it sometimes works wonderfully well to also use a story to help people to see why you feel the way you do, or what to help them to better understand your point. So if I say first the library is fantastic, then I can go on and help people to see how fantastic it is with a story. In fact, when I was working on a research paper last semester, I was shocked at the amount of resources contained within this one facility. My research topic, whale farming, was a bit obscure, and yet I was able to find many resources to help me better understand the topic. By the time I left that facility, I had 3 books that contained information about whale farming, but I also had many journal articles and even 1 video. So notice, even though it is completely different than the other way of developing the point, it is still crystal clear to a reader why this person thinks the library is fantastic. The first one, they painted a picture, and this one they told a story about their own personal experience that led them to the belief that the library is fantastic. So that's not the only way. You can also define terms. A lot of times when you use a word like fantastic, somebody goes, well, what does that mean? Like, fantastic might mean something different to everyone. So this person says, I say fantastic Because in order for a library to be fantastic, it must have all the latest technologies alongside the traditional research methods. So I have, first of all, this reader or this writer has said, look, if a library is going to be fantastic, it has to have this. And then what this person does right after this is show that's exactly what Tech's library has. Tech's library certainly has both. And the person goes on to explain exactly how Tech fits that definition. So define the term fantastic, show what you mean by fantastic, show how that library fits that definition. The last way that you might do this is to compare and contrast. To show somebody, look, to show you how fantastic the library is, let me compare it to another library. So listen to how this sounds. First, the library is fantastic. Unlike many of the libraries I've been in, Tech's library is much more relaxing and complete. For instance, the library in my hometown of Tinkertown, Missouri has ceramic tiles on the floor, which gives it a really cold, uninviting feeling, and their collection is lacking because they don't have many books and only 2 computers, which are incredibly outdated. However, Tech's library, and then this person goes on to show that Tech is completely different than this library in Tinkertown, Missouri, and they go on to explain those differences. So use all of these in your paper. I mean, if you use one in one place, then say, okay, well, I've used the comparison and contrast in one point that I was making. Let me see if I can't use one of these others in another point that I'm making. And so if you mix this up, then it makes it sound dramatically different than if you use the exact same technique every time. And whatever you do, do not use a personal narrative to develop every single point. You will sound ridiculous if every single time you start to develop a point, you go, there was this one time at band camp, because that's exactly what it's going to sound like. So make sure that you're mixing it up and use these different techniques, and hopefully that will help you out. So best of luck, and there's one more video after this on conclusions, and then hopefully that will make you a Zen master at 5-paragraph essays.